What up? It's 92.9 WDUP. New London's home of talentless hip hop and R&B. It's your boy Mike Mitch Ill, man. And it's long overdue, man. He been up here before, but yo, we got like an actual interview with my man right here. 550 Flat. What up? It's good,
Oh, what's up, bro? How you doing, bro? What's the word, CT?
man. Yo, man. I don't know how we have you up here sooner, but I'm glad we had it. You know what I mean? It's all God's time. You heard?
That's a fact, divine timing. I've been big on that lately. There's no more demon time. I believe in divine time. You feel me?
Word,
So
man.
everything happens when it's supposed to.
Absolutely, man. So like, yo, man. For everybody back here in New London, man, like, let everybody know what's going on, man. What you currently got going on?
Right now, I'm working on the new album. Finally, I haven't dropped a full project, so it's gonna be like the first album I ever dropped. I got a new A&R position at this independent record label, One Time Music. We got a few artists that I'm managing. I do art now.
I
Same
see that.
shit, different. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I'm selling jewelry now. I'm a little jeweler. You gotta have your hands in everything. You feel me? Until a point where you don't. Matter of fact, I think you always gotta have your hands in everything. I believe in having 7 different streams of revenue at all times. You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, man. Feel free to send us some of that art and jewelry over here too at 99. But yo,
I got you. I got
uh,
you. I got you.
so yo, Flop, man. Like yo, for those who may not know, man, just like a quick rundown of your background, man, and just let them know what your pedigree's about and all that.
All right. So originally, I started off with my own little, I guess not underground label, but hood label, Thoysen Music Group, Thoysen Entertainment. I had a few of, I guess, New York City's top artists signed under me. From there, I started, I really didn't understand or, didn't see the point of paying for studio time. So I just ended up opening up my studio, my
Mm.
own studio. From there, that attract some of, New York City's greatest artists. We had Designer in there, Fabio Foreign, Bobby Schmurda, fuck man, excuse my language, but, pretty much any and everybody in New York City that you could think of, from that age, Pop Smoke, Sosa Geek, just everybody. From there, I guess after my first studio, I opened up another studio in Connecticut, New London, Connecticut. I built the radio station, turned that into a studio. When I was in there, I realized my own talent. I started making music for myself. And pretty much, from there, I moved to LA. I got into also making music, interviewing artists, and building brands. I built one of the world's largest brands, Packwoods.
Yup.
Had big hands in cookies, Scotch Storage brand, Herb, Dr. Green Thumb, Cocoa Nugs. But hey, if it was a major label in LA, I had parts in it. Um, yeah, from there, I fell back from the music for a little bit. I had an interview with P Shisty, and it's so crazy. It was one of his last interviews, or it was his last interview before he got locked up. And during the interview, I realized, they were young. I didn't think they really could understand the contract that they signed, and I was just trying to figure out, how did it happen? So I go to like the liaison. He was like 19 at the time. I go to his liaison and I'm like, he's a black kid like me in a white environment, I guess. So he must have thought I was similar to him, and I'm asking him like, yo, if they can't understand that contract, how do they sign it, or, what was the process? And he was like, he was like, how we do, we get these little inners out the hood. They either dead or in jail. Now we're on the masters and the rights like that. I mean, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like, how you say it, like confirmed what I always thought, God, like, this label is set up or, it's a machine or whatever. It was all like superstition or, thoughts up until that day. And like from then I was like, nah, I can't really contribute in the downfall of my culture. So I fell back from rapping. I translated, my talents into art, and I felt like, it was a better avenue, one, and way more money and better money, making music anyway. Moved to Miami, and I guess the vibe of Miami and the culture of Miami kind of brought me back to music a little bit. You know, it was less violence, more vibes and having a good time and partying. You know, so I kind of started my own little lane. I call it Miami Drill, and I dropped Dancer. And started playing it for clubs. You know, everybody loved it, and you know, just gave me that vibe again. So I have a few you know, Miami Drill tracks. I haven't really released it yet because you know, marketing isn't there or the marketing budget isn't there yet, but I'm working on it down there. I teamed up with this new record label. It's definitely gonna be hearing from it soon. Hearing this soon. Yeah.
Man. I think you answered all my questions. We can say goodbye. I'll mess with you. But nah, yo. But yo, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, it's a crazy timeline you've been on, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Yeah,
matter of fact, like, we gonna touch on all that. Pause. Like, yo, talk about, like, what made you kind of drift down to New London? You know what I'm saying? It's 929, so we gotta get the New London questions in. You feel me? Like, you know, what made you get down here?
To be honest, like, to keep it a buck, I was in a relationship with a girl from New London. And you know,
you gotta say names. You gotta say names, man.
Yeah, this the CEO of One Time music label. What they do?
What's up, brother? What's happening?
What's happening? You feel me? Carlos, big coffee. You feel me? So yeah, so I had my studio in Queens. That was a studio that got, you know, lit. And it was so successful, you know, like, it was also inside my house. Mm-hmm. So my girl, you know, she wasn't comfortable. She, you know, she liked to walk around her ass out. She couldn't do that because there's always so many people. So it's successful. And, you know, at the time, I was just like, I was more money hungry than anything. I'm like, yo, you know, we get money, we get recognition, you know, like, you know, Phil, you know,
yo.
Excuse me, my bad.
We live, baby.
You know, like, you know, after how you feel, you know, getting this money, whatever. So, you know, she was like, you know, after money is more about the relationship, and you know, I was just putting work first before the relationship. She ended up moving back to New London, and you know, it got to the point where I was successful, but you know, I ain't gonna lie, I was missing the love. You feel me? So. I made my way back to New London, and I bought the radio station. I think it was on Bank Street. And,
well, you gotta explain that. You know what I'm saying? Cause like, whenever I hear, like, I don't know, maybe my competitive nature kind of jumps in. Like, what radio station out here you done bought, man? You know
it was I think 125 Bank Street, if I'm not, you know.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yup. Okay.
Like a liquor store is right across the street.
Yeah.
And it was just like, again, it was God, you know, like, I had the studio in New York. Crazy story. I lost it because I gave, you know, not ownership, but authority to a friend. He ended up selling the whole house, you know, for $2,000. Me getting that house was a total blessing. I applied for it on Craigslist, and it ended up being a scam. And the real owner, she passed away and didn't have any family. So, you know, I went to court and I told them, you know, what the situation, and they said, well, as long as no one comes for it, you know, you legally can keep it, upkeep with the taxes and everything. So, you know, I left it to my friend to run, and I moved to Connecticut. I opened up that studio, and a few months later, he sold it for $2,000. So I ended up losing it because the legal owners are dead, you know, so that is crazy. But yeah, I was in CT for a little bit. Shout out to CT. It was a nice experience, crazy experience. I think it definitely took the gangsta out of me, you know, it cooled me down a little bit. You know, being with Shorty and her mother, it was just showed me another side of life, you know, that coming from Brooklyn and, you know, the hood, you know, I wasn't really, you know, I have never seen before. So it definitely was a major part of my life, you know, I appreciate that. You know,
man. When's the last time you been out here, man?
December,
bro, you got the bump down.
2015. Like,
hey,
I ended up breaking up with Shorty, and and, you know, and that kind of like.
Oh, let me help you fly. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm not trying to like make you divulge into your whole relationship. You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
But you know, I just want to kind of, you know what I mean, establish the New London connect, man, because like you a big deal. You feel me? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, for you to be out here for the time you've been out here, to, you know, kind of reach heights that you reached, man. You know, for our listeners out here, man, I just want people to know what it is. You know,
I think I definitely left a major impact in New London, and New London made a major impact on me. You know, but it was a lot of things that in my career what happened if I didn't spend the time out there. You know, a lot of connections I made and a lot of big things. So yeah, I definitely appreciate New London, bro.
Yeah,
it's been a major part of my study.
All right, man. My last New London question, man. Like, yo, have you collabed like musically with anybody out here, or like, are you looking for anybody, or you got the open door policy, so like, can anybody from New London get at you?
Yeah, when I was out of New London, I was more the record label owner and behind the scenes. I wasn't actually an artist at that time, so no, I haven't really collabed with anybody on like me and DJ Get Right. You know, we were hosting a few events.
Yeah, right. What up, boy?
I threw parties out there, and I was more like behind the scenes label owners. With that being said, I'm definitely open to working with anybody that want to work with me. You know, I don't really chase people. You know, if it happens organically and naturally, like, yeah, I'm more open. The music sounds good. Most importantly, I'm more open for it.
Yeah, man. So, yo, let's get back into the Backwoods, man. Big deal. Like, I saw the clip with you and
Backwoods,
yeah, when you were P Shisty. Yo, was that P Shisty, like, prior to this first lockdown, or like to the current joint that he got going on at this last thing? Yeah.
That was P Shisty's last interview before he got into that situation in LA. And it was so crazy, just me understanding that the deal he signed and when his liaison said, it kind of like, deterred me from making music. I'm like, yo, this whole issue is like, fake. And lo and behold, as soon as he get released from jail, he go after Gucci Mane because he realized the bad deal he signed, Yeah. And how Gucci Mane tried to take advantage of him. So, it's just so crazy that whole cycle, that just happened.
Hey, yo, your interaction with P Shisty, man, like, yo, just like you kind of just rubbing shoulders with him and all that, like, what was your takeaway from your interactions with him?
He was a dope dude, He was like definitely 100% street smart. So I'm not taking that from him like he's an idiot or anything like that. He just wasn't really book smart, but you could tell he was, young, eager, hungry. We were supposed to do a few things that never happened because of his, situation. And he seemed like an all around good dude. Funny. Just a young dude that wanted to get him and his family out the hood, and the label took advantage of that. Because. It's lack of knowledge, And again, not calling them, stupid or anything like that. It's just like certain things you don't know unless you know or unless you taught. And they weren't trying to teach him, There was nobody there to show him that that was a bad deal. Once you come from situations, I've seen that happen a lot of times. Like when you come from poverty or you left with, no choice or eviction notices on the wall and no help and all of that, somebody come offer you a check, you don't really ask too many questions. Especially with that check coming from a major label that, is supposed to be there to help you. So it's like, this is like a messed up situation. Yeah. And I'm trying to keep all the young artists that I know that I'm working with, that I'm developing out of that type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We over here with 550 Flokk, 929 WDUP. Yeah. You know what I mean? Big 550 out here. You know what I mean?
Big 550.
So, yo, let's talk about yourself as an artist. We kind of, talk about all the ancillary stuff, but like, yo, you as an artist, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what made you get into it is like, you know what I'm saying? You started off like having your own studio and a radio station and you rubbing shoulders with all these people and all that. Like, yo, yourself as an artist, man, like what was that first like moment of inspiration to make you take off to get to the point where you currently at?
That's crazy. That was the name of my first song, Taking Off. But like I said, I was managing a few artists, and mainly it was getting me upset that I felt like they were content. I do a certain amount of marketing, I get them to a certain level, and they was happy, with the Instagram fame and the clout. They wasn't really chasing the money or wasn't as eager or ambitious as I was. So, that kind of like always drove me to look for another route or another way to, make money or get successful in this game. And I remember one night, we're in the studio and I'm talking to I'm trying to record with one of my artists, and, he was just like recording so lazily, and I'm like, yo, I need you to say it like this. I got in the booth and I said it, and he was like, yo, my voice sounded crazy on the track. Everybody went crazy. I'm like, hold on. Like, this might be, I might be on to something. I went home that same night after the session, wrote my first song, Taking Off. Then I went and recorded it the next day, and, it was up from there. I didn't really, release that artists, but I just kind of, let them do their own thing. I always advise them, or whatever move I make, I told them, follow or whatever. They decided to go their own route and do their own thing, and I just, took it to the top. Not to go back on this shorty, but when we broke up, her birthday came around, and I would always spend my her birthday with her. We had like a little tradition. We broke up, and I just couldn't be in Connecticut no more during that that time. So I took a flight to LA. When I got out to LA, this artist that I grew up with, Fresher, he happened to be out there. I linked up with him, and he was doing a little tour. I played him the song. He fell in love with it, and he just brought me out on tour with him. I opened up with him. It was like a major, cheat code in my career. I got the chance to, be an artist, but before I was even an artist. I was on tour with him for 2 years, and I learned a lot. It was a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, without me being on tour and linking up with him, or me flying to LA that day in December, I would never be an artist. Mm-hmm. Well, it wouldn't have happened this way.
Yeah. Hey, yo, what was that biggest record that you actually dropped that kind of took you to the heights you at right now?
I feel like my biggest was Not Whoopy, the CJ disc. Unfortunately, it was a super negative song, but, I don't even know, I can't even really say it's negative.
Matter of fact, before you get into that, though, kind of explain all that, Not Whoopy, you know what I'm saying, and how's it this, talk about the whole genesis of that whole record and how it came about, everything.
So the whole Not Whoopy saga, this dude CJ, he used to, hang around, so, he used to hang around, and he was never, but he just was always be around. Nobody even really knew where he came from, but we embraced him and whatever. I guess he was like an industry plan or whatever. I don't know. So, I dropped this snippet to a song called Whoopty. And, I wasn't too fond of releasing music without the proper marketing, but, you still got to stay relevant, as an artist. So, at the time, snippets and Triller and things like that was the way to do cheap promo for your music. So I dropped a little snippet, but I didn't drop the song. He hit me up like, yo, bro, this song is dope. You feel me? I want to make a version to it, and I did give him the green light. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. Again, I was embracing them at the time. I wanted to see my bros grow up. Grow up, blow up. And, I really didn't know the song was going to be as popular as it is, because I didn't know he was related to Diddy's right hand man, and he had all these secret connections or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he dropped the full song. He called it Whoopty. He got a bunch of paid actors to get in the video, no real, in it, and he basically made a song portraying my and the brother's life. And like I said, he's connected to Diddy. So the song actually blew up. It went crazy on TikTok, and it kind of exploded him as an artist. Mm-hmm. So now that the song is big, he's getting exposure and whatever, we resurfaced the conversation. I'm like, all right, bro, we didn't know this song was gonna be like this. Cut me a little check. It was something as small as $5,000 at the time, and throw me on a remix. And, we'll split, all the profits and work out the back ends or whatever. It was throw me on a remix, and another, I think, what's his name? Leaky G Bando. We were supposed to get on a remix. So he linked up with 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine convinced him to, build that whole contract and that whole situation. And, he basically effed them, don't worry about them, whatever they, what they gonna do. So, the remix never happened. The payment never happened. It was a few, conversations where we were supposed to get paid, and, he was supposed to pay it to the big homie, and we were supposed to meet up, or a bunch of things that never happened. Mm-hmm. So, I think what what is it, put the straw in the hat or just broke the last straw was he signed a deal with Dr. Dre, and he also copyrighted the word whoopty. And now, so it's like you're pretty much getting paid from a lifestyle and a word and lingo that you wasn't really a part of. You're not doing anything to help the brotherhood. You're not paying for lawyers. You're not putting kids in school. The things that we do as a team, as a family, you're not doing. You just benefited and taking our lifestyle and our lingo basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got him to retract the copyright, and he ended the deal with Dr. Dre and the headphones. That deal. So from there, I kind of got the green light to go at him lyrically. Not to get him in trouble, whatever the case may be, but just go at him. So we dropped the Not Whoopy song. I had the real big homies, real people, authentic people in my video. Hit him where it hurt lyrically, nothing but facts. And then I think shout to Knuckle Brim. He hit him it's like we hit him with a 1-2 punch. Knuckle Brim hit him with another song similar to mine. And then I think, we just social media killed them. It was to the point where, if a DJ played Whoopty in a club, the crowd, especially in New York City, they were sending me videos of, they running up to the DJ, turn that off, that's not a song,
Mm-hmm.
It got real crazy for a little minute, and all the lies, he just, he was just getting exposed. I think he did a few interviews, claiming that he's not a drill artist or he does Latin music, and, I guess that was the last we heard from Kid.
Okay.
So he pretty much did his career in the street tracks.
Okay. So, the whole drill lane to begin with, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your thoughts on that? I had a versatility from you as an artist, you know what I'm saying? We got the records. We about to, ring off 5 straight. Kobe, 5 rings, you feel me? So I had the versatility, and they gonna hear it on 929. Of course, we over here with 550 flat. But, the drill rap, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel away if somebody try to label you as a drill rapper? Or, do you feel like, the drill rap might be problematic? Or, what's your thoughts on the whole drill rap scene altogether?
I guess it was an ever in a time that I was a drill rapper, but now how I evolved as an artist, from then. Like I said, when I first started rapping, me coming from New York City and, just our environment, the negativity and, what they pump in our head on social media and YouTube, just the drill path was the way to go, and as I got older, I realized the pain, not the pain, but the problems that drill rap was causing and, the negative influence that I was, putting out there. And I kind of strayed away from the drill rap a little bit or made my own type of drill rap, a less violent drill rap. If you listen to Dance, it's kind of still like the drill bop, but it's not really violent.
Hey, is that your favorite video ever? I remember I was doing an interview with Memphis Bleak, and I was like, what's your favorite video? I thought it was Hey Poppy, and confirmed it. I think I confirmed your joint. Was Dancing your favorite video you ever shot?
I think Dancing was my favorite video so far. Not only it was it's like a dope video visually, it was kind of like a major milestone for me. It was shot in my own content crib. I paid for it. I directed it. I hired all the models. I did everything myself.
I'm sorry, because you said content crib. I see that on TV shows. You had a content crib.
So I have my own, and I currently, this is inside my new one right now.
Yeah, so, see that on IG. Yep.
Yeah, so the idea was for, influencers, content creators, brands, and, just for us to link up, a hub for us to work out of, networking like a brotherhood for content creation. I consider myself one of the original influencers and content creators. So I know, especially back then when I was, first started with this content creator thing, it was hard for us to, really make money because nobody really understood what I did or what I was doing. They were looking at me crazy I'm walking in restaurants just holding the phone or, eating. And, it was a time when that was unheard of, and I was brave enough to, say, I'm not really worried about people thinks, and it does look silly. And, because you don't understand what I do, you might look at me in type of way, but I know where it was leading to. I saw the decline and, people actually watching TV and people going to the movies. And, I foreseen the shift of, celebrities to influencers. So like, pretty much everybody's a celebrity.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody cares if you're on a movie, TV, anybody can be on that. You put in the right amount of work, so.
Hey, yo, I was watching the video with, with you featuring Fat Boy, you know what I'm saying? And, to play off of Pay the Full and all that. I feel like it should have been like a part 2, you know what I'm saying? Was that the plan? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that was a couple years ago, but I watching it and felt like a crazy cliffhanger.
That was actually, Paid in Full was a theme to one of my music videos. Yeah. Again, like I said, I direct all my videos. I pretty much do everything but shoot my videos. So I come up with the treatments, and every video, I like to be a visual version of the song that, I'm recording. So, again, it was like a drill song. It kind of reminded me of Paid in Full, the Rise to My Come Up. I think that was like my third single, and, I was already, on tour and did Rolling Loud. I felt like, nobody could tell me nothing, so I felt like me coming from New York, Paid in Full was one of my favorite movies, and that was just like I guess me paying homage to that video and like my come up. Now that you're saying it though, like we could, that would be a good.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the car where, what I'm saying, like.
Right.
McCall Fife was like, yo, everybody look at me wrong, they gonna get it. Right. That's when it ended. I'm like, yo, say who gonna, you know what I mean?
And it was like, yo, bro, he's so funny, bro. Like, he did that tape like 30 times. Like, cause we supposed to be serious, but he's saying a joke, but it's serious, talking. I couldn't stop laughing, bro. Like, Fat Boy is really naturally talented. One of my brothers just flew him out here, to work with him, it's not really for 6 months, but, I'm working on a little project with him, another little podcast. I don't want to say the name, but I'm working on something up. I'm working on something with him right now.
So, yo, if I'm not mistaken, you currently out on the West Coast right now?
Nah, I'm actually in Miami now.
Oh, you're in Miami? Okay.
Yeah.
I lost track, you know what I mean? I know he's Cali boy out, man. He back down there in Miami.
I think Cali for like a top five years.
Okay. Yeah, yo, where do you feel like your music is best received? You know what I'm saying? Like back home in the East Coast, Cali, or you know what I'm saying? You down in 305 right now. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest, I can't. I'm gonna say it's best received everywhere, but in New York and the up north, it's like secretly received. Like if you. Like, they would know my music word for word, but you would never get a share or repost, coming from New York. Like, until, happen to have a conversation or run into, or somebody else, takes a video. There have been so many times where, I ran into people that I didn't even know listen to my music, but I'm in a situation where it may benefit them or something, they're word for word. And I'm like, damn, like, but as opposed to, even in LA, LA, Miami, down south, once they hear that, they want to, where can I download it? I want to reshare it. They support, there's more support. But I feel like everywhere, like, I make hits, bro. Like, I make good music. Like, my music is undeniable. For you to say that you don't like my music, you really got to just be hating. Yeah, I got a lot of those too, so.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, yo, any features on this upcoming project? When can people expect it?
Right now, I can't really put a date on it. I got so much going on right now, so many, like, new things that, how can I say, that's bringing me a little more immediate money. I am an independent artist, and this is an independent label. So, and I don't really believe in signing, or I'm not looking for a deal. So, I gotta kind of like prioritize my I guess, my talents and what I'm doing, art makes me a lot more money. It is making me a bigger artist.
Hey, yo, you in Miami, Art Basel, like, all that stuff, you got it back. Y'all go see it when we repost this on our YouTube and our Instagram. Because we got the, you know what I'm saying, the video coming up on deck. But, like, yo, you over there on Art Basel weekend and all that? Like, you know what I'm saying, you can see 550 Flokk work there?
Last year, it's so crazy. I didn't even have, like, a whole art installation. I did a party and paint. I was painting live, and I made, I cleared about 20K in 2 days. I even ended up doing screenwriting for this guy. He flew me back out to LA. I met him during Art Basel, and he just fell in love with my work and my art. I was screenwriting for him $1,000 a week, for a few months until, I had a little situation and I had to move back to New York for a few. But, yeah, Art Basel was definitely one of my aces in the hole,
Yeah. Damn, you do screenwriting too. Hey, yo, I wish I could keep you longer, man. We got to do a part 2 with my man 550 Flokk, man. Hey, yo,
let's do it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we got 5 records. Y'all been hearing the Maybach record ring off lately, you know what I'm saying? We burning that up. But we got 4 more on top of that, you know what I mean? My man, you know what I mean, got rings like Kobe, man. 5 of them things, y'all. But yeah.
Everything is a hit, bro. You will never hear a weak song from me, bro.
Nah, man. Check my man joints out, man. And like, yo, I'll say this live on the air, like, you know what I mean? I know about Flokk. I ain't know how big of a deal Flokk was. Like, I knew he was something, but I ain't know he was something, you know what I mean? So I'm late to the party, you know what I mean?
But like, I let like my work speak for itself, I'm not really braggadocious. I'm super humble with it, and, I feel like, Little Baby said, I don't never call myself the GOAT. I let other people do that, but with that being said, I feel like that's what not held me back, but hindered a lot of my success, me being a little too humble. So, if I need
sometimes you gotta let people know what it is, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta pound your chest, Yeah, man.
That's a fact.
Hey, yo, Flokk, man. So, yo, we gonna get into your records, man. Yo, hang back. I still gotta get it dropped from you. I'm putting that pressure on you live on air, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, yo, and I'm gonna press you again, you know what I'm saying? I'm New London to the heart, man. Like, yo, anybody from NL, man, you ain't gotta say who you checking for, who you want. Like, yo, can anybody get at you back, back here at CT New London, you know what I mean? How can they get at you?
Nah, definitely. I'm ready, willing. I'm always willing to work, especially New London is like one of my second homes, whenever it makes sense, I'm out there. Let's do it. Let's just set it up. Hit me. If anybody know how to get at me, my phone number is, I don't know
if you're gonna say it loud on the radio. Unless you do. You know what I mean? You might Jones with it, give out your number on the song and all that. You know what I mean? Go
ahead. To be honest, why not? My phone number is 347-888-0581. That's 347-888-0581. I ain't got nothing to hide, man. I'm outside.
Yo, he ain't stuck nothing. I know with that new iPhone update, man, you got the receptionist asking you what you calling for.
Yo, I got that. I feel like, I don't know. I don't like it. But yeah, it's crazy.
I like it. I use that. Yeah, man. But yo, man, Flokk, man, before you get into your records, man, like anything else you want to say to the people? How can they follow you? How can they keep in tune with what you got going on?
550 Flokk on everything, all social media platforms. 550flokk@gmail.com. My backup is 550thebigwolf@gmail.com. I guess phone number 347-888-0581. I do custom art pieces.
Yeah, we need that. We need that.
Commissions, do paint murals, as you can see. Clothing line, if you need a brand, you develop. If you need a website, if you need a mentor, I do artist development. Pretty much everything, bro. And I'm very successful at everything that I do. Crazy resume, referrals if you need to, if it ever gets to that point. On the A&R side, I am looking for producers. I'm looking for engineers. I'm looking for photographers, and new talent, new music. Pretty much what I'm searching for is something that's new, something fresh, lyrical with substance, something, I'm tired of hearing the same old drill songs or the same old, I'm sounding like Chief Keef or G Herbo. My big thing with, telling these artists, why would you sound like another artist that's already out there, people who wouldn't pay for two.
Yeah, you got that originality, man.
Originality.
Yo, Flop, man. Hang back for a second, man. We're gonna get to your records, man. It's 929 WDUP. Let's go.